Howdy doody,
Hello,
how are
one,
you?
two.
Good evening, and welcome to this evening's edition of Cop Talk. How are you, sir?
I am well. I've decided to come back choosing violence, and I've just seen a tweet, so I can't even claim to say this is my own work. And the tweet says, Ahmad has more Premier League goals in 10 minutes than Darwin Núñez all season.
Goodness gracious. So, do you know what's going to be good then, Doctor? We've got so much ready for this show. I think at some stage we're going to be speaking about.
I'm going to say that again. All of the Núñez fans. Ahmad Diallo in 10 minutes of Premier League football has more goals than the 85 million striker Darwin Núñez all season.
So, as I was going to say, we are going to be touching on the Accrington Stanley game. We're going to be touching on the Nottingham Forest game, and we're going to be touching on the next game that we're going to be playing against Brentford. But we're actually going to do a little rewind here, okay? Before we came on air, we were actually discussing Darwin Núñez's current performances and what we think of him in terms of what he's done since he's been at the club and moving forward. So if it's okay, Doctor, take the floor on the tweet and allow whatever's on your mind.
No, so the context is in, I guess, fans constantly, I guess, just being deluded about what we're seeing. Now, my thing with Núñez is simply this, right? Whatever we've got now, this is what he is. These arguments about, he needs more time, needs a full season under Slot. And the point I was making is Slot is a rarity amongst managers. He has inherited one of the biggest jobs in world football to succeed Jurgen Klopp. The precedent for big managers leaving big clubs has been Ferguson and it's been Arsenal. One's 12 years without a title, one's 20 years without a title. So not only has Slot come into a club with that huge pressure, he said, I'm just going to work with the squad. So many managers would have been like, I want 4 players, 5 players, the starters, 3 players. He just said, let me just work with the squad. At this point now, middle of January, he has worked with the entire squad. We can't be advocating that Darwin Núñez needs more time. This is what he is. It's either he's suited to Slot's style of play or he's not. Now, I'm not saying that I would just sell him for the sake of it, but if we can get a replacement in, like, what more do you need to see? Like, he is 2.5 years in. I just feel like fans have actually just lost the plot. He needs more time. How much time did Ryan Gravenberch need under Slot? 2 weeks of pre-season. How much time did Curtis Jones need under Slot? Like, Mo's improved this season. Trent's defending's improved this season. Literally everyone has improved this season other than Kwanzaa. And then obviously Robbo's gone backwards, but that's because of his own physical limitations. So everyone else is picking it up and getting it straight away. But this guy's a special case. He needs, a full year. It's just like, listen, this is what he is. If someone in Saudi is foolish enough to bid £7 million for the guy, I think you have to say, Darwin, it's been a pleasure, but dates and milk and honey that awaits you in Saudi Arabia, and you need to do one, mate. Because if we get £70 million for Darwin Núñez, that would be an absolute steal. Absolute steal. So yeah, here we are.
This is a question, and I don't even actually know the answer to this, all right? In terms of the payment structure that was put in place when we purchased Darwin Núñez from Benfica, do you know whether it was front loaded or was it over the period of time that his contract was actually?
So I think what I would like to think, if we committed to paying £85 million, that we would have somehow managed to stagger that as much as possible over the course of the contract. But it might have been that they paid 30 million up front and then the rest of it was then staggered away. But the thing at that point is, I know the Nunez fans used to say no, it was 65 million pound plus add-ons. By all accounts, he's hit about 50 million pounds of those add-ons. I think one was there was a certain amount after he played 10 games, and I think the other one was about after he's played 50 games. So I think all in all, it stands right now at about 80 million pounds, maybe about 77, 78. So that's where we're at. So yeah, I just think you just got to accept it, mate. Like if he costs 30 million quid, then it's still a conversation to move him on. But I think in many ways, the biggest argument about keeping him is that we're going to lose our money. But if that's the biggest reason to actually keep someone.
I think what was interesting still about the Darwin Nunez situation, and I was trying to find some rationale in it, right? So I was trying to think for the period of time that Klopp was actually at Liverpool, I tried to think of the players, not necessarily ones that have been on loan, because we brought in some players on loan and they haven't materialized, and we have to appreciate that, right? But I'm trying to think of the players that were actually signed and the ones that, for whatever reason, we had to write off or we had to move on. And I'm thinking, even if there was 20, if we've got 3 that didn't actually materialize and we want, then I think in comparison to other clubs, and in terms of business, then I think it's just one of those things. And I think for me, I'm just trying to think in my own head. Things clearly are not working out for Darwin Nunez in the project at Liverpool. And if it means that he has to move on at the end of the season, then we probably just have to take a hit on it. And I think that's the only rationale we can have, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think, Stoney, if you look at the players under Klopp who we would say were underwhelming or underwhelming signings, and the Oxys come to mind, the Naby Keita's come to mind. I'm sure there's someone else that will jump out as well. All of these guys, when they came, they looked mustard. Things then went wrong for them, like with Keita's injuries. If you remember Keita's first game against, I want to say, was it West Ham? It was his debut. And I think Klopp actually started him. He looked absolute mustard. Then there was that away game against Crystal Palace about 4 or 5 games in, when he takes the ball at the edge of the area, spins about 3. I think he spins one guy with like a Cruyff turn spin. Then he kills another guy. Plays that wicked through ball through to Mo. Mo then missed the chance. It would be one of the best assists of that season. Ox was absolutely outrageous. So this idea that players need time, I just don't think it buys out. I think most players, don't get me wrong, players might have a bit of an inconsistent maybe 18 months or a year. So I think someone like Cody, last season he disappointed, but his first 6 months he was very, very good. We saw the actual ability. And I just think this idea that a player needs 2 minutes, 3 years. So you want to give a player 3 years into a 5-year contract. Now, look, if we were talking like an R9 level talent that you could be, just give it more time, because when this guy clicks, he's going to be world class. I just think we just got to accept it hasn't worked out. It's just got to just move on. This is what it is.
Yeah. 100%.
It's like finding out that your missus has cheated on you and she's had a batchy with people from around the corner in the local pub, and they're saying, let's go to marriage counselling. What are you doing, bro? It's over. Move on.
And you know the other side of it. I'm just going to welcome a few people before we continue with the Darwin Nunez situation. So good evening, Mark Foster. Good evening, sir. Thanks for joining the show this evening. Mark says if Nunez needs to be sold, I can't watch him anymore. Great team, but he doesn't have a striker's brain. Yeah, I think a lot of people who agree with you there, Mark, as well. Good evening, Chris. Chris, the interesting thing Chris has mentioned about that Darwin Nunez probably wouldn't even be able to cut it in League Two. The interesting thing, Chris, and correct me on this. So Luke Armstrong, your striker down at Carlisle, I know they've had an indifferent season. Darwin Nunez has actually scored one more goal than Luke Armstrong and Holder this season. I know they're different leagues, completely different leagues, but Darwin Núñez has scored 4 goals this season and Luke Armstrong has scored 3. What are your thoughts on that, Chris? So in terms of Darwin Núñez, I think for us as a project, we brought back in Edwards, and I'm confident that in terms of our scouting and in terms of our finance, there has to be other forwards that we're probably looking at to possibly bring into Liverpool. But I've just got a little pending question here, right? Because we're going to touch on the Accrington Stanley game in a few minutes. Can you see Kaiser remaining with us during this transfer window? Because there was some talk about him going back to Italy.
It's a really tricky one with the Chiesa. Let's call it rumors for the time being. He clearly just hasn't played enough. He has had injury issues, and he seems to have had a bit of bad luck with things like sicknesses, if it's flus or whatever it is. So it's uncertain how the club's seeing it. Like, there was a telling quote from Slot post Accrington Stanley when he basically says, yeah, like, he's done well today, but we have to bear in mind that it's Accrington Stanley. I think sometimes Slot saying things like that, almost like a reason why I can't play him just yet. And I think he's too good to have the role that he's currently got right now. He's one of the best talents in European football. Equally, I don't know where he gets the minutes to get up to speed to start to really knock on the first team door and start starting more first team games. So, yeah, I'm actually unsure. I can see us loaning him. I can see him stay, and I can see it from both angles. But I guess, Slot just, hasn't felt that he's ready for him to kind of throw him in.
Because I was even thinking to myself, well, I think it was probably about a £10 million purchase. I think it was in terms of Kaiser. So I was trying to think. So I'm just speaking about in football terms, not any other terms. I'm speaking in football terms. In terms of that, I think that's good business. I'm not too sure how much he is in terms of salary, but even if I can probably understand where he's coming from in terms of being frustrated that he probably hasn't been given more minutes or more game time. For me, it would be amazing to be able to be a fly on the wall or have some involvement in any of the training and conversations if we're able to, and actually see what's really happening in terms of when he would be given an opportunity to play. And I do agree with you. I was trying to think, where's he going to get that? Where is he going to be able to get that game time? And I kept scratching my head as well. Fixtures are coming in thick and I think.
Yeah, because probably, think about it, right?
We can't wait for the next. And I'm thinking this, every game we're playing in the league is going to be important at the moment, right? So I was thinking to myself, in terms of games where I would think that we're probably guaranteed to get a win, we're probably thinking about the Ipswich game, all right? So then is he having to wait until we play Ipswich on, I think it's near the end of January. I think it's probably, the end of January. And then after that, is he then waiting until we play Plymouth in the next round of the FA Cup? I don't know. For somebody of his stature and caliber, he should be at least be getting some game time in the Premiership. But as you said, we don't know what his fitness levels are. We don't know what injuries that he's probably still sustaining.
So, by all accounts, because of the contract situation, he didn't have much of a pre-season for Juve. I think he may have been training by himself. So you have to factor in that he didn't have a proper pre-season. However, he went to the Euros and he played for Italy in the Euros. So from my recollection, the Euros finished kind of ending of June maybe, or middle of June. They would have kind of gone out, or like late June, maybe early July. So it's not like he hasn't played football like for years, and obviously like his big knee injury was the season before, it was like 2 years ago. So he played all of last season, didn't have a proper preseason. We've then given him what seems like a version of a preseason, and I just think Jota had that really complex rib injury, and Slots managed to find a way to bring him back. Now, maybe Jota's baseline fitness was higher than Chiesa's prior to the injury. That is a possibility. But I don't know, man. Something just feels a bit... Hey, they're back. They're back. They're back.
Did you notice something there, Doctor? Both of them came on at the same time. That means you guys are either at Popeye's Chicken or you guys were down at a bar or something drinking some soft drinks. It's one of those
soft drinks only. No, but,
Firstly, can you hear me?
Juice.
Yes, we can hear you. We can definitely hear you, Doctor. Do you know what? That's a good point that Chris has actually mentioned. Play Kaiser in the remaining Champions League games. We've already qualified. So after Brentford, we're at home to Lille. So that might actually be a good little shout if he is actually fit enough.
The issue is it's not clear. See, I guess, like we've got a new manager, right? So it's not clear what Slot is seeing as games where he's happy just to rotate. So obviously, so far this season, like we've had the League Cup where he's always rotated in the initial stages, and then obviously now like the FA Cup. But yeah, it's like he might want to keep on playing his strongest team for the rest of the Champions League games. I just have no idea.
Interesting.
It's a shame, really. It's a good player, Chiesa. Good player. But
see where he fits in. Good evening, Vinny. Thanks for joining in the show this evening as well. You can jump in the comments as well, Vinny. Our thoughts on Darwin Núñez and how you see Kaiser getting some game time in the next few games. Hand it back over to you, Artie, sir.
No, man. Keep going, bro.
Yeah, I was about to say, get the big boys involved, will you?
Hey, Stoney, keep going, bro.
So, Preds, you coming to join us? Myself, Dr. Mark, and Chris. We were thinking about where we see Kaiser fitting in the next few games. Where do you see him fitting into Slot's plans? And what games do you see him being able to get some game time? Because at the moment, I thought he was actually going to start against Accrington Stanley. Okay, he got game time. He scored a nice clutch goal as well. But where do you see him getting a game time and where?
Well, good evening first and foremost to everyone out there and the fellow panel. Secondly, Dr. Blake, I felt your emotion. I felt your pain. I felt your emotion when you were talking about Darwin. I was sitting here and I was holding my chest and I was like, he's passionate about this, I'm telling you. So I felt you, mate. And in regards to Chiesa, where do I see him getting? I would hope that I would see him getting, like you, I hoped I would sort of seen him get match game time against Accrington Stanley. He didn't. Did he come on? I don't think he came on, did he?
He came on and scored.
Yeah.
He came on and scored. Sorry, memory's shot. He came on and scored. So look, I would expect him to play against Plymouth. I would expect him to play some part. I don't expect him to play any part in the Premiership games, but the Cup games, especially the FA Cup, the League Cup, and what remains the Champions League group stage games. I would say that's probably his best opportunity. Hopefully it comes a little bit sooner rather than later, because we're getting to the business end of the season, and all credit to the management and the doctors, physios, sports scientists, because for a long time, I can't remember from such a long time that we've had a full complement of players available.
And you know what, you probably got a point there as well, Preds, because I think after not even after the game, I think. So we've got Brentford on the 18th. We're at home to Lille, and then we've got Ipswich. So is this the period of time? And then we've got PSV in the Champions League and Bournemouth. So is this a period of time where we've got all of these games like every every 3 games. I mean, sorry, every 3 days. I think there's a series where we got. So you're right. We may actually see him being part of the squads, and in addition to that, we've got quite a few players that are obviously coming back from injury, and that will, I think, support us to bolster our squad. So we're looking at the likes of Jota's been getting some game time. We look at Harvey Elliott, he's managed to come back and get some game time as well. That'd be interesting. Transfer news is more. I think they're saying Morton's meant to be.
Oh, hold on.
Okay.
Press pause.
You froze there, Stoney.
Yeah, I don't know.
What did you say?
Say again, Stones.
Morton wants to go out on loan. Our little youngster in the midfield.
Yeah, I saw that. I think that makes sense if you're him. Because if you think about it, he played the full season with, was it Hull last season, right?
Yeah.
There's talk of Premier League teams being interested in him. I'm sure by Leverkusen, did they make a bid? Was it a loan bid? So he's somebody who's ready for first team football. And yeah, I think for me, if you're in the squad and you're not getting used, then I like players who actually want to play football. Like they're staying in the squad for like a rainy day when you're not just being used. For me, it's pointless. He's too good a player just to be sitting there not being used. And like I don't blame him for wanting to leave. Equally, I don't blame Slot for not playing him more. I think it's one of these situations.
And I think it's probably going to be quite a few players. I'd prefer if he went out on loan, because he said he had a full season at Hull last season, and I think the season before that he was at Blackburn Rovers, and he played like 40 plus games for both teams. So you're right, it's about game time for him. I prefer for him to actually go out on loan personally, even if it's an extended loan, and just to see how he's supposed to get space as well.
You keep freezing, Stoney.
Is it? I don't know. I've got some AOL dial-up at the moment, so that's what it is.
Coming like it. The thing is, we keep saying that, let them go out and loan, but our squad isn't that big, man. Takes a 1 or 2 injuries, and then we're scratching around now for players.
True.
And we have to think of it. We're still in 4 competitions, so these players, they're going to be needed.
So and while I agree with you on that, I'm just trying to think from the player's point of view. I don't wish for him to go out on loan. I'm a little bit selfish at the moment. Similar to you, while we're in all of these competitions, I just want to make sure we have an extremely healthy squad. And also as well, I would prefer for him to stay there, so he's actually being coached by Slot and the rest of our coaching staff as well. Yeah. But as you said, he's probably looked and seen the likes of Ben Doyle go out on loan, and he's flourishing. And Morton's probably thinking, well, look, it's probably his opportunity to go out there and get some game time as well. As a youngster, when you've gone away, especially when you've gone out on loan for a couple of seasons, even though we'll say it's a championship level, which is still a very, very hard level to go and play at, you get the taste and you get the first team football. And when you get that first, like coming back to play 21 games and 23 games is really not cutting it. So as a player, you want to go out and think it, but you just got to be. It's one of those, like Artie is saying, we're not blessed with an abundance of a huge squad, and he comes down as one of the youngsters who is he under 21? He's 22. He's older than Harvey Elliott.
Oh, he's 22. So if he's 22, is he actually registered to play in the Premiership? Because
he's homegrown. So
he's homegrown, but if you're 21 or under homegrown, you don't need to register for the Premiership. Anyone over 21 will need to be, regardless of homegrown, will need to be
as part of your squad.
Yeah. So is he part of our? Yeah, is he part of our Premiership squad of 25 men? 25 players. I don't know.
He must be.
That's a good point.
That's a very good point.
That's a very good point.
I think the answer is yes, because I think in terms of how many players were you saying it probably needed to be? Did you say 25?
Yeah.
You got 25. Yeah, you got 25-man squad, and within that 25-man squad, you need 8 homegrown players.
8 homegrown. That's right.
So, but then anyone under 21 who has been at the football club for a certain amount of period of time, who then qualifies as homegrown, they don't need to be registered for a Premiership squad.
All right, so perfect. So yeah, you are correct in saying that then. So Tyler Morton is part of the 25 squad for the Premiership, and what bolsters up that is the 2 goalkeepers we got. So we got Yaros is the other goalie, and Harvey Davis as well, the other goalie. So he is part of the 25-man squad.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
because I'd see it is, I think with some players we just have to just be realistic. Do we think he is good enough to be starting for Liverpool? That would be the first question.
Tyler Morton.
Yeah. The second question would then be, is he good enough for a squad role? Now the thing is, we're basically rotating 4 players for 3 positions in Szoboszlai, Jones, McAllister, and Gravenberch. And it's only in desperate situations where Slot will bring Endo into that. So if I'm Tyler Morton and I'm already seeing a shortage of players that the manager's using, and I'm still not getting any minutes, I just think like the game's up. Like he don't rate you, and that's fine. But then I feel then he's he should be then saying like he wants to move, because there's been opportunities to give him minutes and Slot's just not doing it at all. So
I think, but as a manager, I think like with Slot in the moment, you're top of the table. You've played the first half of the season with a group of players to then, like, if he's good enough, regardless of age, if he's good enough, and I should imagine he'll play. You know what I mean? Like the young lad, I know it's FA Cup game, but the young lad, the 16-year-old who made his debut for Liverpool on Saturday, if you're good enough, you're going to play. Is Morton good enough? Like Dr. Blake said, is he good enough to not only get into the squad, but then hold down a starting position? And at this moment in time, where Slot's rotated with those 4 players, at this moment in time, whether it's a case of Slot thinks he's not ready, or Slot wants him to develop a little bit more, or give him a little bit more coaching in regards to what Slot expects of him, we don't know, because we're not on the training ground every day, you know. But I should imagine that he should be in Slot's plans if he's involved in the FA Cup game, because he probably wants to see what he can do in a competitive game, and that was probably one of the only times Slot has had an opportunity to see Tyler Morton in a competitive game.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I just don't think Slot rates him high enough for him to be considered
so we'll
to be one of that first team midfield group. I just don't think and that's fine. Because I think almost Slot's probably earmarked Trey Mnioni probably as somebody who he thinks could possibly be good enough to start for us, and maybe that's the long-term project. And so maybe almost Trey Mnioni becomes, say, the 6th midfielder, and they would then basically need to sign another one, and then you then rotate that 5 for the 3 positions, and then Trey can then kind of get some minutes, or Endo, depending. But I just think you're Tyler Morton. Go and play some football, man. Go and play some.
But then you got then you're talking about the likes of Endo. What's the situation down with Endo? Because he's playing centre half. He's playing centre half in the League Cup cup game.
Yeah.
He played centre half last weekend. He's not really getting that game time. He's almost getting that name of when a player comes on the last couple of minutes just to shore things up. Yeah,
well, I'm being quite selfish with that as well, Preds. I think I agree with what you were saying. If we didn't have Endo as part of the squad at the moment, so I'm not saying that we'd be starting him as an example at centre back. If we didn't have him with the injuries that we're having at centre back, we'd be in a very uncomfortable position. So even when he started at centre back with Kwanzaa against Accrington Stanley, because he came on he came on the centre back again, wasn't it? What game was it?
Um,
Kwanzaa, because Kwanzaa was unwell. What game did we play before Accrington Stanley?
Tottenham.
Yeah.
So Kwanzaa had to come off against Tottenham because he was unwell. And then
Yeah.
Endo came on at centre back in that game as well. So I agree with you. I think we're probably, so I'm not saying that we'll be starting him, but we're probably lucky that we've got a seasoned pro there who can just do a job for the moment. Because if not, as you said, I don't know what other centre backs we would be able to call up. And I should have actually looked on it before we came on the show about our academy team or our under 21s. But as an example, Ibrahim's is only just coming back. We know that Gomez is out. If either of those go, then you're right. It's literally Virgil and Endo. If anything was happening to Endo, then I was trying to. Oh, Gravenberch slipped into centre back. That's it. Gravenberch slipped into centre back against the game against Forest.
He's looked class doing it though. He has looked amazing doing that. Jesus.
And it was a young lad. It was a young lad who, with Liverpool finishing the game against Accrington Stanley on Saturday. Sorry, Sunday. No, Saturday it was. Did we finish with? Who did we finish at centre half? Who was it? Was it what the young lad? I can't remember his name. He came on as a sub. And was it Kwanzaa who finished the game?
Don't know. I know Kwanzaa played the whole game against Accrington Stanley.
Yeah.
So Kwanzaa started with Endo, and then the game ended. The game ended with Kwanzaa and the young midfielder who came on.
Oh, James.
No, he's right. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Is it?
Mm.
So that means it would have been James McConnell. That would
McConnell.
That's
he usually
him.
plays in midfield.
Yeah.
That's him. So to end of the game, that's how we ended up at the end of the game with Kwanzaa and McConnell.
Right. Okay.
So the game had already been done. The game had already been won, and I'm sure that he was starting to say, but like you say, touch wood, if we get any kind of injuries centre half wise, like we're really going to be like. I mean, you got Nat Phillips. Is he at Liverpool?
I have no idea, but
he's still our player. He's out on loan. I think he's at Celtic. He's not getting no games.
Okay.
Yeah, he's at Celtic, but they're not giving him no game time.
Okay. So yeah, I agree with you, Preds. I think for me, my areas of concern would really be if we have any issues at centre back, and we already know we've had previous conversations about. Hopefully we'll be linked at some stage to a left back. I'm not saying that we need to purchase one in this transfer window, but hopefully at the end of the season that will be linked with somebody I think who can reinvigorate that position on the left defensive side for us really.
Well, another option is we could possibly get Stefan back from Salzburg, but I know that there've been rumours of Stefan. Was his name Batičić? I did see news reports that Liverpool want to bring him back to Liverpool from Salzburg, but then loan him back out because obviously it's not going terribly well at Salzburg. But then again, if we have scope in the squad, that's a possibility of bringing him back because he's naturally a centre half. But again, hopefully we can kind of ride out the storm. And I don't know how long's Gomez out for.
Don't know.
I'm not sure.
I'm
not sure. Yeah. Those hamstring injuries can be for a period of time as well. So and we definitely don't want to rush that back.
Yeah, and Gomez it's such it's unfortunate because Gomez was just starting to motor, and you can start seeing you started seeing the dynamic of Gomez and VVD. The last centre half pairing that we won a title with, you could see them actually they were gelling again and they were motoring. And I think, to be fair, there was a moment when I was thinking, Ibu's going to struggle here. Ibu might struggle here because Gomez was playing better and better and better with each game that was coming, and their relationship was reforming. So I'm really gutted for him, to be fair.
Mm.
Oh God, blimey, you lot are live tonight, aren't you? Come on. Get on your hey Stoney, get on your cucumber juice, will ya? Lee's all like, Lee's just had a food, isn't it? He's just like, yeah, of course.
That has got me, bro. So
let's get into the games, man. Let's get into the games, eh?
FA Cup, regardless of what the round is, we were at home. Another opportunity there as well for us to have an opportunity to look at some players that were coming back from injury, and some players to obviously get game time. We would have seen Jota get an opportunity to get a run out. We would have seen our young Rio getting his opportunity to play over on the left. And as we mentioned previously, Morton playing in midfield and Harvey Elliott also playing in midfield as well. Preds, did you have the opportunity to watch the game or see any of the highlights from the game against Accrington Stanley?
Yeah, I woke up very early in the morning because it was an early kickoff. It was crazy, the way our fixtures landed. But anyway, that's another story. I thought we started really well. I was really impressed with the young kid. He started really, really well. Good feet, good balance, pace. His low centre of gravity just kind of got him away from players. And to be fair, for a 16-year-old ended up being marked by 3 players, which was nuts. But I think we started off kind of slowly, and we started off all right. We didn't really impose ourselves as much as I thought we would do. But then it's one of those teams that's been put together, so we weren't going to get too much fluidity throughout the game. But from when we attacked from their corner and counter attacks and Jota the shotter settled our nerves. I think after that we started controlling the game, and I still think, in all fairness to Accrington Stanley, I think they worked incredibly hard. They were very brave as well off the ball, and it was just a case, you saw it as the game wore on in the first half. We wore them down more and more to the point where when they got the ball, it was just a kick up the field, and they were struggling. But listen up, second half, second half. I think it was to be expected. The final result. Me being a football supporter, I would want more goals. However, the beauty of the cup, I didn't want it to be like a Salford City where they got lashed. Yeah, I mean, but I think Accrington Stanley, they put in a really good performance that they can be proud of. But overall, I think Liverpool shown with the mix of experience and youngsters that we've got depth, and Blakey, Nunes still didn't score. Nunes still didn't score and still didn't look like he was going to score, which
got an assist though.
Bro, yeah, it's another thing. What fans say, yeah, but he gets assists. He gets if anyone's played Pro Evo Soccer, he gets the original cutback X button cross assist. There's no imagination in these assists. Nunes isn't holding up the ball, spinning and playing a man through, or beating a man and whipping it back post, or he literally just breaking the line, and there's a second player who's broken the line and he squares it. These are the assists that the guy gets, but bloody hell. I think on the game, Rio clearly had something very, very, very special. I think once he realized that he is looking good and he is playing well, I then think his game intelligence became particularly impressive, and he actually started playing the game like a really mature player, and he didn't need to then start beating his man all the time. And I think what's really nice about him from a technical perspective is that he's his head's up, and like he's got a picture in his head and he can still kind of beat players, but also have a picture of the game as the games are like moving around him. So yeah, like what a talent. Personally, this might sound controversial, but I would rather we was not in the FA Cup right now, simply because I just don't like this trying to compete in 4 competitions. I think you got to just like pick a poison, and this whole chasing 4 tournaments. We saw what happened last year. We saw what happened the year when we got to the Champions League final and nearly won the league. I just think, focus on 1, maybe even 2, 3 at a push, but 4.
Do you know what, Doctor? You see, I think a little bit different. I'm kind of greedy like that, right? So I kind of think that if we're going to be in a position, we know FSG's stance on purchasing players and our squad's never going to be as big as Chelsea or XYZ, right? But if we're going to be at the level of where we expect us to be elite, we're always going to be in all of these competitions. So for me, we just have to embrace it. I trust Slot. I trust our coaching staff to make sure we actually get through the games. What I just think of it like this, right? We are at the top of the Premier League at the moment. We're at the top of the Champions League at the moment. We've got the next stage to play in the League Cup, and then we're through to the next round of the FA Cup as well. I'm just happy in terms of that. So even if we go back to what I mentioned before about us playing a series of games every 3 days, it could be that we play a completely different squad against Lille and then a completely different squad against PSV. And those may be the players that are actually coming back from injury, or similarly when we're speaking about Morton and Kaiser playing over at that opportunity, and Kelleher getting some more game time and Endo getting some game time and Elliott getting some game time, then I think that's what we probably have to look at it in doing. So yeah, I think we're top heavy at the moment, and I'm happy, man.
I mean, I know what Dr. Blake's saying. I know what Dr. Blake's saying about not being in 4 trophies, X, Y, Z. I think it's a slightly different this time around, because like you were saying with Klopp, we were all gun. We all know what type of football we were playing. I think now, because we're more in control of possession, it'll be quite interesting in regards to what the stats will be in regards to the distances and what the distance running. I know that we'll have a lot more like impact sprinting, and our stats will probably go a little bit higher. But yeah, I think we'll probably, as a footballer, you want to be involved in every single game and all competitions. And I think, look, the more competitions we are in, the more opportunity it gives players such as the young players to get that little taste of first team football as well, along with experienced professionals behind them as well. Gives them that little taste. But I think we all know that the Premiership is the one that we want, followed by Champions League, probably. But I'm not going to be fussy. I'm just going to enjoy the moment and enjoy the form and the football that Liverpool playing currently.
Definitely.
Let's win let's be in every single competition. Come on, let's make a competition to be in that one.
Okay. Did you have an opportunity to watch the game or see any highlights at all, RT, for the Accrington Stanley game?
I watched the whole game, bro. Come on, they're from the start, brother.
Yeah,
man. I watched the whole game. I was pleased when I saw that certain people was getting arrested. That's what I was hoping for. What I expected. I did think that maybe Kaiser would start, but happy for his cameo appearance. But yeah, definitely Rio's got a big future ahead of him. You know what I mean? Coached the right way, he's definitely going to be a big boy baller. You know what I mean? Make decision making at the end of when he beats players and whatever. Then we'll see, man. But he's got mad natural talent, man. Mad natural talent. So yeah.
So we were speaking earlier about players going out on loan. Do you reckon that's the same situation to do with Dan's as well?
Right now, someone even put it in the comments, and I think I'd agree with them. I'd flip in, loan out Nunes and keep Dan's.
Listen. I think Dan's is blatantly good. I actually think he's one of these players where Like he might need to like change his trim. And I say that because like you see when you just watch him, like his hair's a mess, he looks a bit scrappy. But when you just analyze his game is so technically on point and clinical. Like every touch is purposeful. His link-up plays on point, but he's almost got this chaotic kind of vibe about him. But his game isn't chaotic at all. Like everything, I think his link-up play, his touch, his awareness, for his physical profile, I think he's technically better than what he needs to be. I think he could be a real player, Dan's real player.
Well, Dan's had like real like he's been. You might as well say he's been coached from birth, isn't it? Because his old man was a pro footballer as well. So I agree with you. He's got that like shaggy kind of look to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Shaggy. Hey, Shaggy.
And I mean,
when Dan comes on and scores straight away, another slap in the head for Nuno.
Wow, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Dan just reads the game, man. If you think about like just the goal he scored, like this, just the anticipation that he's got, and he's just decisive with the ball. One touch link gone, and even just to finish the way that. Like it wasn't one of these goals where he's got to the ball and he's sliding in or he's skidded or he's literally just strolled onto the ball, bang. I just think his anticipation is really, really good.
Yeah.
And I actually think he could really
He's a
contribute.
natural. That's the thing, he's a natural. You understand? He doesn't have to think about it. Scoring goals comes naturally to him. And that's the difference. So those are the kind of people who want chances, opportunities to fall to. And this is what we're missing right now.
I think it's hard to argue against that.
Creds, man. Nice of you to jump on last week, Creds.
Interesting. So after the FA Cup game, 3 days later, we made a trip. We made a trip to the City Ground. I'm gonna be honest. This was the first game in a long period of time that I actually felt excited before the game, but actually excited watching the game. And my reasons behind it is this. Forest knew he was going to come play football, and they delivered the smoke. So when you actually watch them, I mean, I've watched quite a few games, none of them live. By the way, I haven't been to any live games this season. So which is a fair amount of games they play. The way that Nuno has got them set up, you can definitely see why they are where they are in the league as well. I think for me, I was really impressed with how Einer's, is it Einer that you pronounce his name? Or like Einer that used to play? Einer. I'm really impressed with him in terms of he's able to switch from playing either right back or left back or right midfield or left midfield. But I just thought the energy levels were different. Their pressing was on a completely different level. I don't know what they ate before or what type training they were on, but very, very, very impressed. I think for them they've got, is it Bar? Woods, they've got a fairly young team though, haven't they? I think, hasn't everybody in the early 20s?
Yeah. I think
it's only about 22.
22, yeah.
So I thought so. So I think their oldest players is Woods, the striker, and the captain Yates. I think Yates I think he's probably about 28, I think. But all of the rest of them are about 22 or in and around that. But I was just very, very, very impressed. I think the goalies had a good season as well. Had a good season so far as well. Sells, have to give him credit that. But I just like the energy levels. I just love the way that Gibbs White, once again, man, that he's a very, very, very tidy player. He's very, very, very impressive. So yeah, I was just for me, if I was able to put my head in a neutral space, I think the game would have been even better to watch. But I was watching it with my rose-tinted Liverpool glasses on, and I just thought, wow. Thoughts on the games, lads? If any of you guys watched it,
I got to be honest. It was. I thought they scored the first goal, and they worked it very well. And you can see what they do at home. They're very strong at home, very organised. You got Woods.
Done better though from that angle. Huh? Keeper got done better from that angle.
That finish was wicked. All of them are 1-2s. That finish was clutch. Nobody would have that.
As a striker, from a young age, you're always told to strike the ball across the goal, across the goalkeeper. Yeah. When the ball it doesn't matter if you get the right touch on the ball in regards to the right strike, even if you shank the ball and you don't hit it properly, if you get it in a certain way across the goalkeeper, the keeper's got no chance. The balls hit the inside of the opposite post. As a goalkeeper, there's only so much you can do, and you just got to put your hands up and say, you know what, it was a good. They manufactured the chance very well, and he's put it away. Well, me personally, again, we didn't really start firing until Jota Shotta came on, and then I got to be honest, I'm quite disappointed that we didn't come away with all 3 points. Like, their goalkeepers made some really good saves, but they started really well. They were very strong, but second half, they dropped back. They were trying to hit us on the break, which we already know. We controlled the possession. Jota's come on, and by the way, Jota's now is he the leading player in regards to him and Daniel Sturridge? 21 seconds coming off the bench and scoring straight away. So that was 21. Yeah, so 21 seconds. I saw a great little video about it today. And he's come on and he's livened us up again. And again, like I said, I hear what you're saying, Stoney, and everyone about what they've got and what the players they've got and how they're playing. But me personally, I think at the end of the day, when you hear Forrester's interviews, they seemed disappointed not to win the game. And I'm thinking, what game did you see? Because we could have won that game by 3-4-1 if the goalkeeper weren't on point. And but you know what? We didn't lose. It wasn't like a struggled 1-1. It was one where we got 1-1 and we should have then gone on to win the game. So
should have done with our chances personally. I feel
definitely
straight at the keeper. There was a couple where he made big saves, but there's a couple that was hit straight at him.
Yeah,
we had chances that we should have been a bit more clinical with, to be fair. And personally, I believe that Salah should have come off. For me, wasn't doing nothing, wasn't really offering nothing. To be fair, he could have come off. I think Jota could have maybe come on a bit earlier as well to try and shake things up. But yeah, man, I think we had enough chances to definitely win that game, like 3-1, definitely.
But what is this thing though? Because I'm sorry, it's just come to my head about, and you said about Salah coming off. Why is Salah not coming off? I know it's a strange. People might ask me, and people have asked me. That's a strange question because Salah's a top scorer. He does this, he does that. But then there's times when, like Tuesday night, he should have come off.
Yeah. Should have.
I think what was so interesting about that, and RT, you raised such a good point there. It wasn't that Salah had an off day. I just think Nico Williams was just possessed. When some players just seem like they are ready for a challenge. He wasn't giving. Salah didn't even have an eyelash of space to actually play. Nico Williams, I thought, wow, that energy level that you had, the way he actually played Salah. And the thing is, a lot of those moments that he would Salah was one-on-ones, So it's not even like Nico Williams was depending on another player to come and double up. It's like he almost says, I'm ready for the one-on-ones. And regardless of what you actually bring to me, I'm going to be ready for it. And I can see why I think when Nico Williams came off near the end, he actually got a standing ovation. And I thought, you know what? Credit to you, young sir, man. Seriously, he really had a good game. He really did.
No, he did. He did. Yeah, as Craig says that as well. Game of his life. You know what? Playing against your old team, he was up for it, man. He was up for it.
So I think I would probably give Nico Williams a bit more credit if Mo didn't also have a stinker against Spurs as well. Now, we've seen in previous seasons him have a little dip over Christmas. Maybe it was just 2 bad games and there's nothing to be made of it. But I think Stoney, like, he made a great point. Nuno basically said to Nico Williams, I'm not going to back you up. I'm not going to make Hudson-Odoi come back and track back. You're basically going to have to deal with Mo Salah by yourself. And Mo got absolutely pocketed. Now, do I think if Nico Williams was playing against Chelsea and Neto or Madueke, Arsenal and Salah, whoever other, Brighton and Minter, I think they would have roasted him. I don't think Nico Williams is levels at all. I think he's decent, but we saw him like in Liverpool shirt. He's a decent player. I think the game of his life was because Salah was struggling. Now, some fans will say take him off. Some fans will say move him. But I think we have to be able to be honest about the fact that, yes, he's been brilliant, but he was absolutely terrible against Forest. So what you then do with that, I don't know. But his touch was off. He's miscontrolling the ball. His passing was poor. He couldn't beat Williams. He was poor. So you hope that it's just a small little blip and he'll be back in our next game, because I guess we are relying on him to deliver. Do you take him off? Maybe. I think for me, with the game, a few things. I think slots changing and bringing Gravenberch back into that sweeper role, I thought was a brilliant change again. So you can clearly see how Slots worked in this pattern of play now when he wants to get more when he wants to get more midfielders into the team. But I think for me, the biggest issue was that goal we conceded was so poor, man. That was so poor.
But that's how Forest have been scoring their goals. It's almost as if like they did soak up the pressure, but the speed and accuracy of those, and it was all one touch. I mean, it was, you know, the way that I looked in it, Doctor, is I kind of looked in it. Sometimes our team can see the goal, and sometimes you just have to take a step back and think, you know what, that was a good goal, man. I just think where they actually broke from it is all one touch. And what I think was really good about the goal, in my opinion, I just think the way that Wood stood that goal up and he waited just for that last second just to strike it with his left foot. I just thought, you know what, sometimes you just have to give the opposition credit for the way that they actually dispatched the goal. And I think that's the only way. I was trying to look at it in terms of what Liverpool could have done defensively, but then the other side, I was thinking offensively, you just have to give credit to the opposition there, man.
I'd agree with you, because I think when you work it out, when you see it and how it plays out, they got the ball in midfield, and as soon as the ball got put into the space where was it Hudson-Odoi or Langa?
Yeah,
went in. Yeah, Langa, he came in. Langa came in from the right. He's then taken the number 10 position. As he's taken the number 10 position, you can see Woods then drifting wide of the centre half. And it's one of those where you can say it's a well worked goal by Nottingham Forest, and you can also say that Liverpool very sloppy and very unorganised defensively, because we were all out to sea. The back four was all out to sea. Like,
yeah, I just think.
But like I said, but then you've got to give, like Sony says, you then got to give props to. Is it bad? It might be bad defending, but the movement was really good in respect of that, and that's what Stoney's been saying, that they've been doing it all season, and they know how to work it and create it. We just didn't do enough to stop that opportunity from happening. But when he got that opportunity, he dispatched it like clinical.
Don't get me wrong, Wood does do a early run just before that attack unfolds, and I guess that then means that Virgil has to drop. But I think to myself, it was in like the 8th minute. 10th minute.
Yeah,
you're playing against a team who basically want to sit back, maybe score one goal and play on the counter. I just think for the defensive position we found ourselves in, obviously I'm not going to say like the ball from Elanga and then the finish from Wood, top class, both of that. But I just think for us to be in that position, it was poor. There was no reason for us to just be lacking shape from that kind of situation. So if it's an issue with us competing for second balls, or I'm not quite sure what happened, but Virgil shouldn't be 2 against 1 in the 9th minute against Forest from a break in midfield. That shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
So whatever Scott needs to do with these guys on the training pitch, it needs to happen because I thought it was poor. And question, do we need to have a conversation about Alisson? Because I've seen a few people talking about, I saw this stat, something like he's only made about 4 saves in about 9 games. I'm not quite sure what the stat is, but apparently, he's struggling, man.
No, I mean, you know what? You can look at it in one. You can look at it in one way. I'm going to defend my Goku union over it. Yeah, you know I'm stepping up. I think you got to put it in one way. You got to put it in one way. Is that defensively, if he's only had to make 4 saves, then defensively we've done reasonably well. If you think about the goals we conceded, you can't say that Alisson's at fault of any of the goals. It's just one of those where at this moment in time, Liverpool are there to be got at defensively. We are there to be got at.
Why in the moment? Why are we there to be got at?
Because I think in regards to our control, we're controlling the game, the X, Y, and Z, but then we've got chances and we're not being stone cold. Bam, bam. We're not being like clinical and putting our chance. If we put our chances away, say again, Forest, use that as an example. If we put our chances away, we're winning the game 4-1. We're not putting the chances away.
And you know what, Pred, you are so right, because I think even in that game against Forest, as much as I was saying, and you know, my opening thing was, I looked forward to the game, and I was really happy watching the game, and there's been a lot of opportunities for me to reflect afterwards. But Pred, you hit on a key point there as well. As much as Sells was actually good in goal, we had 23 shots on goal, but some of them our players were shooting. I don't know. I can't believe I'm going to say this. They were shooting, but they were shooting from far. You don't remember the opening of the game? They was just licking shots just for the sake of it. And I don't think any of them believe
7 on target out of the 23.
Yeah. It's bananas, RT, because as you said, it's like they were shooting for the sake of it. So for me, I'm looking in it like this. Sells has actually had a very good season. So the fact that those players are trying to shoot from that far out, one, you're disrespecting the goalie, I think's played okay. But then 2, the other side is, are they shooting from that far out because they probably thought our players couldn't get any closer because Forest started with quite a deep defensive block? That's what I kept thinking in my head. Why are you guys they were just shooting for anywhere. So that, you know, sometimes like stats can be quite deceiving if you didn't watch the game. So you're right, 23 shots, 7 on target, but they were just shooting for the sake of it. Can
we say then that it's either Nottingham Forest defended very, very well, or we lacked creativity to open them up to forward chances to get to the byline or get balls in the box.
As you said that, Freds, just quickly before you get, I'm going to get to that, yeah? Cred says he agrees about Ali been sidelined for a while, and he thinks that's one of the weaker goals that he's conceded. But Des goes on to say, when you said about the creativity, we didn't have 1 shot on target in the first half.
Okay.
All them shots on target were in the second half.
All right. It's interesting, isn't it?
And you know what? It goes back again. This season, since Slot has taken over, we've been a second half team. And this is the trouble now. When you come up against a team like Forest, who are very difficult to score against, and then they've already gone in front, you can't keep relying on being a second half team.
Yeah.
You can't. This is where you get out.
But you know what, though? I agree with you on that one. But however, I'd also say, remember what I said that I dropped a comment in a couple of weeks ago where it almost feels like the first half is where Slot kind of fills out what the other team and what the opposition are going to do, because each opposition they're starting to do all oppositions are starting to do the same thing in regards to doing a low block and then hitting us on the break. All right, and furthermore, also coming to press us because we're not been as good as we have been during the season, early part of the season in regards to playing out. So, it's one of those where I think we just need to sharpen our pencil. And the goal against, on a short side note, the goal against Forest, the goal Forest scored came from the space vacated by Trent Alexander.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Now I'm not blaming him because we lost the ball in the midfield. I'm not blaming him, but you can start seeing that teams are starting to exploit again the space in between Trent and also Robinson as well, because he hasn't been great.
No,
Mate.
not by a lot.
He hasn't been great.
Not by a lot.
He hasn't been great again. So I think we're starting to get found out a little bit with regards to our fullbacks. We're not as strong as we used to be. But hey.
Yeah, most definitely. Mark Foster is saying, I said this last live that Harvey needs to play 10. He gives us a different look. Szoboszlai is more a defensive player.
But then where does Mac 10 play then? Because I think Mac 10's had quite a steady season. I also think that the partnership that he's continued to form with Ryan is currently working quite well for Liverpool. So it may be something, as was Mark, what you've mentioned, sorry, it may be something where Slot possibly does look at that against Ipswich or probably Lille or PSV, or when we play against Plymouth, XYZ. But I just think the partnership with Ryan and McAllister works at the moment. Where that leaves Dominic, where that leaves Harvey, and where that leaves Curtis, it will be interesting to see. But, either way, it's a valid point by yourself, Mark. Thanks for that.
Yeah, I think what you're saying, though, is you still play Gravenberch and McAllister, but you drop Szoboszlai.
Right.
And play Harvey.
See, the thing with Szoboszlai is he's got quality. We know this. For me, he hasn't shown it enough or consistently enough for Liverpool this season. But what Szoboszlai also gives you is that athleticism in that number 10 in regards to the way we press teams in the defensive, but in our attacking third. So I think he gives us that little bit of energy and athleticism. I just think now he needs to bring the quality in regards to his delivery and his end product with the ball. He needs to do it a lot more consistently.
Good. He said it was the end of Robertson after the Sacco goal, falling back like Patrick Truman.
Man was like that.
He said it. I can't get it out of my head as well. Flipping neck.
Hey, I told you, Robbo, you need to stick a fork in Robbo from that game. We need to stick a fork in him, bro.
Desby says Robert's a good engine, but Harvey can see a pass or a goal opportunity, which is very true.
Yeah,
it is very true. Two different kind of players. Yeah, no, you know what? Szoboszlai, you know what? Szoboszlai is kind of reminding me of Henderson. Lots of
don't say that, man. Dominic's got levels over Hendo. I don't know.
Hold on. Are you seeing the quality though?
I see. I'm seeing the quality. Do you know what I'm seeing, RT? I'm seeing Dominic play in a completely different role that he's played for Liverpool and a role that he doesn't play regularly for Hungary. So I'm seeing a player who's developing into playing in different positions. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm currently seeing at the moment. maybe what are we looking at? More assists from Dominic or the assist before the assist? He's understanding
More goals.
More goals.
More goals.
For me, it's more. It's
More
so
assists and goals.
So I think his creativity in terms of his passing and setting people up, I think that's improving. It still needs to get to another level. But I just think the biggest issue that I see with Mr. Bosley is, I could be wrong here. I think he's got the best long shot in the squad. 25 yards out. He's the one player who I'd want to be striking that ball right foot, probably even left foot as well. But yet I don't see him shooting. I don't see him shooting. When he gets the opportunity where he can maybe create a little space, he finds the pass. I think he hasn't embraced the responsibility of being the number 10. And it's almost like, bruv, you're in position to go and yes, you've got to play for the team, but you've got to show us what you can do. Like, you've got to use your attributes to help us win games. And I just think if our best shooter in the team isn't shooting, something's not quite right. And yeah, the fact that he's calling the man Henderson, I can understand why. It pains me to say that. It pains me to say that. Obviously, he's a level on Henderson.
The endeavour and all that, but I'm not seeing this bags of quality. Do you understand? Which I believe in the first game.
No, what? That's like someone punching someone in the throat. That's a throat punch. Like.
Yeah, seriously. And he's had good opportunities, and it's taken that extra touch as well. But it's just to keep it to beat.
It's bro, just lash it.
Yeah.
I want to see you just lashing the ball. He's got an amazing shot.
Yes.
I think I believe that at some point he's had a bit of a confidence crisis.
Yeah,
like in regards to because there was times when he was just in autopilot where he was just doing doggies, running. He was just running, and there was times when he weren't even touching the ball. He was either doing the press or doing the recovery run back towards our own goal. But in regards to being on the ball and controlling, dictating the game with his quality, which he has got in abundance, by the way. Like Spotsly, he's a fantastic player. I just think like now he has to complement this athleticism and hard work that he has. He has to now, on a consistent basis, start showing his quality in the final third. Whether it's long shots, whether it's assists, whether getting into the box, as a third man running. He has to deliver more.
Like, he can beat a man as well. He literally got everything that he could want.
He's got everything. He's got delivery. He's got everything. Like, it's just a moment. I think it's just a period where again the Boxlight have to stand up. Well, I'm sure he's trying to.
Yeah, Mark Foster says that I want the final ball to help Salah find space in the box. Harvey will find a player. Harvey will come out wide and help Salah. There's B says that Dom lacks accuracy in his shots. Ooh.
I don't see that at all. But...
CW says that the Hungarian Gerrard he was called from the start of his NFC career. What are we doing here?
I think his players being asked to perform different roles. I think that's the only thing. I'm happy with Dominic currently playing for Liverpool. Whether this is going to be the role that he's going to play moving forward, we'll see. But as you know, I just go back to what I was saying earlier. If we're going to play this system, then he is not dispatching Ryan or Mac 10. So if you want to get in the team, you're going to have to understand and learn that number 10 role. That's just the way I feel about it anyway.
I said that I want to see Ryan hit them as well because he can hit 1 too. Yeah, he can take a shot. Bingy says that Slot said that from early. He doesn't really want players taking shots from far out. When Nunez did it and scored, Slot said something like he didn't want him to do that, but glad he did.
Bingy, I'm going to make trouble here. You ain't seen a couple of them goals and shots that Trent's been hitting. So Trent didn't get that memo. That this is just a question, Bingy. This is just a question. Not to you, but I'm just putting it out there because.
But you know what you said. But you see that, right? You say that, right, Stoney, right? But there's times when I've watched the game live, and it's been fortunate that the camera has been, the slot's been in the frame. And there's been times when Trent's got the ball and Trent likes to do his long diagonal raking balls or X, Y, and Z. And you can see Trent doing these long balls, and you can see like Slot's turning around like going, I don't want him to do that. Right. But then with Trent, how do you stop someone with with a missile foot like that? Like, if the pass is on, surely you want to encourage it, but then Slot's got his way of playing. So if that's what the manager wants, then the boys got to kind of adhere to it. But yeah,
that's fair enough.
I think on Dom, I think Dom is playing better in the last, I'd say, I don't know, 4 to 6 weeks than what he was before. I think we do need to kind of give him that kind of acknowledgement, but still there is still a level where he can go to. I think the issue with Harvey is Harvey's, now maybe this is partly the reason why Dom's struggling a little bit, but he does have to get through a hell of a lot of work defensively. A hell of a lot of work. Mo Salah, especially now when Diaz plays through the middle, does not track back at all. Yeah. He basically is a wide striker. He basically is a striker. He does not track back at all. And quite often it's Dom having to do those shuttle runs and sprint back into position to kind of cover up the actual space. So it's unclear if Harvey has the athleticism to actually do that, as good as I think he is. But yeah, Dom is playing a vital role for the team.
Yeah, because what you see is when we lose possession in the transition, you'll see Dom sprinting in a straight line, and if the ball's in, he sprints back on his bike in a straight line. And then if, say for instance, they're attacking down our right side with Trent, you'll see Gravenberch coming over, doubling up, and then you'll see then Spotlight then going into central with Matt 10 as well. So we've now got that solid 3 across them, and then they rotate round. Whereas on the other side, Diaz is going back and forth. Diaz hasn't got that luxury what Salah's got, which is just to say, yeah, you stay out there, boom. Whereas the other side, Diaz is actually doing what he's doing the up and down stuff
as well.
Huh?
Diaz, he had a poor game.
I think Diaz. You know what? Since he put Diaz in the false 9 position, I'm not sure it's really been that effective, or he's been that effective in that position. I don't know. Since then,
like I said, was it last week or week before? I've seen it a good few times now where we've got the ball out wide, then won the ball out wide, and then they've looked up and Diaz ain't there. He's somewhere out wide. There's nobody in the middle. Absolutely nobody.
I think he just offers something.
Occasions, and for me, I honestly don't feel that it's working like that. I think, you know what, you do that a one-off time, but I don't think it's something that you continue with. For me.
Oh, wow.
I don't think
whereas I think whereas I think it's actually been working. I think he just offers something complete, and I'm apart from Jota, because I like Jota in that position up front, but I just think he offers something completely different when he's actually up there. I know what you mean in terms of like goal or assist output, considering how he plays, considering how much ground he covers, considering how much threat he actually presents himself, and the chaos that he's able to call those defenders, because defenders don't like his press. His numbers or his output can probably be a little bit higher, but I'm also trying to think how long has he been at? Has he been at us for about 3 years?
I think it's 3 years now. I think January 3 years. Yeah, 3 years.
3 years, right?
This season's his third season.
Third season. All right. So even if you think of it, I think last season, I mean, he played a lot of games for us last season. So he probably played close to 50 games for us last season, right? And so far, I think he's played probably about 25 games this season. Someone correct me, right?
Like that, yeah.
But his numbers are already, during half of the games that he played last season, his numbers are close to his goals and assists from last season. Could be completely different role. I agree with you. Completely different role, completely different way that he's being asked to play by Slot. And I agree with you. It's not just all about the numbers, but I just think he offers something a little bit different up top there, and I do like it. So I'm not saying every game, but in certain games, I think it works.
He shouldn't play there. Leave him to fight for the left side with Gakpo. Jota is our 9, and that's how it should stay. That says Bingy.
I'm with Stoney. I like when he plays there personally. I don't think it's a tactic that we should use in every game, but I do think it has worked. I think the Man U game, obviously, Diaz to me didn't play badly against Man U. I just think the team was bad. I can see that against Forest that he struggled a little bit, but I don't think he was that bad. There was just that one chance when obviously he should have played it through to Cody. But I think in terms of the West Ham game, he was brilliant. The Spurs game, he was brilliant. So I can see where for some games that whole kind of false 9 thing can work. But hopefully now Jota's back, he'll play, but without wanting to push home the Darwin Núñez point again. There's been games where Diaz has played through the middle and Darwin Núñez has been on the bench. So you're basically third choice. Give him time. Give him time. Give him time.
And he centre back.
Oh, wow.
You know what? Mark's got a point. We're not centre back, but you see, if we had kept Klopp and we were doing the whole 4-3-3, like the Henderson Preston role, you could see Núñez doing like a Joe Linton role, where just like a
I knew he was going to say that. You know, I knew you were going to say
physicality.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, because he's got that in it. Like, what's he good at? He's physical. He's got intensity. He's gonna leave it on the pitch. So like a midfield bruiser role, we can see him doing it in that old system. But for now,
VW, is there something that you don't know, man? Some inside info that we don't know? Please let us know, man. Please. I beg you. Or is that what you're wishing for? Let us know.
Yeah, it's a hard one though for Diaz. It's hard one Diaz to be on the left because Gakpo has come alive.
Yeah.
But this is what you want. This is where you want players fighting for positions.
competition, yeah, it's good.
This is what you want. And for me, once again, we're going back to that thing again, what happened before, of where we're now trying to compensate and put in square pegs in round holes.
Yeah, definitely. Jota, I really touch wood. I really want Jota to have a really good run in the team, and I think once Jota has a really good run at number 9 in the team, because I think, to be fair, he makes a difference. Anytime he's come on and he makes a difference. You know, like I said, he's almost similar to Luis Suarez when he's on the ball, he's dribbling and the ball knocks off, he hits the ball on someone's knee and it comes back in his path, and and a lot of his finishes are not scuffed, they're like on point, clinical, and if we can just keep him fit, then if we keep him fit as a number 9, then Diaz is struggling because Gakpo is playing out of his skin. But then players have periods of form, didn't they? Gakpo got a period at the moment. Diaz had a very good period earlier in the season. So all of them have different periods in different stages of the season, and I just hope that it all comes together, especially with the all business end of the season starting now.
Vinny's saying that's what he thinks should happen. Sell Diaz and Núñez.
I wouldn't sell Diaz personally.
I wouldn't sell Diaz. Personally, I wouldn't. No.
Núñez, absolutely.
You know, we rejected the contract, right?
Who's that?
Diaz, did he?
Yes, yeah.
I'm not really concerned with that. His contract doesn't expire until 2027, though, RT.
Yeah.
So I'm not really concerned with that. I think maybe they may have offered him the contract more just to bolster up his wages, because I think he's probably on about 75 or 80 grand. Yeah. So I wonder if it was more just to give him more wages as opposed to extend the length of the contract. I mean, we'll never know anyway. But I think
it's more wage rise.
Okay,
like, can he turn it down? Okay, so like he wants to go. To be fair, you know what? I kind of respect that then. Yeah, well then if that is true, then then he needs to go, I guess, because I think most players take the contract and then ask to go, right? So the fact that he said, actually, I'd rather not sign him and I'd rather leave, then yeah, like I have to respect that.
So hold on, if he goes Barca, that's what he's talking about. Hold on, but on one side you got Lamar, and the other side you got Rafinha.
Yeah, and Lamar's the golden boy. Rafinha's their captain. But the main thing is Barca has no money. Not only do they not have any money, they cannot even sign anybody. I think there's still the court situation with is it Almo? He still hasn't even been able to play properly. So I think even in my own head, when it comes to any players, as an example, that may be linked to Barcelona, I think it's just all steam and all fresh air. They cannot bring anybody else in their squad. They tried so many different loopholes, but I think the Spanish FA basically said, look, you can't do it. So
weren't they able to sign the Dutch lad though? They were able to register the Dutch lad. Oh my God, what's the Dutch lad's name? Midfielder. They got him. Not De Jong. Not De Jong. Oh my God, I can't remember his name now, but he's a Dutch midfielder, Dutch international. They got him in the summer. They weren't able to sign him and register him. Okay. But I think now they've got, I think if I'm right in saying, and I read the report, they were able to use a loophole or some sort of situation where they were able to register these two players for the second part of the season. So, but that's it. I think that's the day we were given special dispensation to do so.
Okay.
But I'll find out more.
Danny Olmo you're talking about, Preds. Yes. Danny Olmo, they managed to get him registered. Like if it's they went to some kind of arbitration court in Spain, and then they kind of overruled it, so they can now play him now in the second part of the season.
But even check this then, right, Doctor? Look when they would have purchased him. They would have paid £60 million, right? And they would also have been paying his wages. Do you know, due to the discrepancies with Barcelona not being able to register him sooner, it was still having an impact on Almo actually even moving forward, even being able to play for the national squad. They did an absolute madness. How could you be buying players and you can't register them? That's bananas.
So I think it was something like, is it Christensen? So I think they basically exploited a loophole at the start of this season where I think he got like a long-term knee injury. So then they deregistered him. So then they used that to then sign Olmo. And then I think he's then come on top for the second part of the season. But they're obviously doing these financial levers, right, where they're trying to leverage money now based on future income of the club. It's not clear at what point their financial situation does change, but you have to think it must get better at some point in time. So maybe, by the summer, there might be like a bit more money about for Diaz. But we shame to see him go. But like if he's said no to new contracts, we can move on, then I think you just have to respect it, man.
I said Barcelona had no money since we sold them Coutinho.
What a hell that was, eh?
How's Coutinho feel though? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we were just starting to bubble, weren't we? And if you would have kept Coutinho, then God knows what happened. But you don't like to see it happen. You like to, he's done service to the football club. He's, as a footballer, he's wanted to go and experience a new way of life, a new football.
Maybe you should have a word with Trent.
Well, by all reports, if you read all the reports from Spain, that deal's a done deal.
Yeah, I know. I'm expecting that anyway. So
listen, if Trent should stay or if Trent should go, I need to see you running on the pitch, bro. Like, I don't care if you get skinned. I need to see you working hard. Stop being nonchalant. Like, what he was doing against United, seriously, like he needed to be slapped, man. That was ridiculous. Yeah. We're just trotting back. It's a constant trotting back. No, if you you can just trot back, then trot off. Like, should he have played
against Man United? With all the speculation going on and Madrid playing silly buggers and putting in that £20 million bid, where Trent's side must have known that the offer was coming in. Do you think that had an impact on his performance against Man United?
Well, it bloody looked like it. I'll tell you that, mate.
Oh, it's appalling.
It looked like it. I'll tell you, but if it wasn't, then I really want to know what it was that made him play like that.
It was crazy.
I think that's the worst. That's one of the worst performances I've seen from him. It was terrible.
Yeah, like he didn't bother.
I just hope that if he does move on, and I think he would move on, I just hope that he's remembered more for the positive things that he's contributed towards the club, as opposed to some of the things that he hasn't been able to do. I don't want it to be like one of these Wenger moments where you're at a club, and because you're going to be moving on, people all then decide to disliking you. You know what I mean? I think he's been a very, very, very good player and a good servant for us. And sometimes we're probably just looking at all the things that he cannot do as opposed to the things that he can do. So I just, either way, I just want him to leave on a good note personally. And I don't even think it's anybody's business that he needs to be disclosing whether he's staying here or not. We don't know what negotiations he's currently having with Liverpool. We don't know what stages of the negotiations he's having, and we don't know the negotiations from Madrid. So personally, I don't think he has to say anything to anybody. That's just my opinion anyway.
Bingy seems like he's on the fence on whether he should stay or whether he should go. Mark Foster says, no, he shouldn't have started. Bradley should have started that game. Man United. And then Bingy goes on to say that he reckons he should have been subbed at the end of the first half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Valid point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's because he wasn't like it. Like I said, it wasn't like he was just getting skinned. It was like he wasn't trying.
It's like he didn't care.
Yeah, like you
That's
can't
what it
have
felt
that.
like.
Yeah, you can't have that, man. My thing is this. I think Trent is solid defensively. I think this season we've definitely seen that. Yes, he's not the best defensively. We know his skills lie elsewhere, but you can't forgive a guy if they're not trying. You just know. No.
Yeah.
If you think you've reached the point where you can basically play like you're Messi and kind of like jog around the pitch from right back, then no.
It was almost like he turned up as if to say, yeah, you know what, I can turn up and I can switch it on and switch it off whenever I want to.
Like he was drunk or something.
Yeah. And it just came across. He came across, and I'm surprised that he didn't get subbed off at halftime. That's how bad he was.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think if Bradley had been fully fit, then I think Trent gets hooked earlier.
Yeah. Mark says, but when you got fans burning shirt over Gerrard and Chelsea sending death threats, what could Trent be thinking and what is he going on in his mind?
But that's why he's probably not saying nothing. As he said, it's nobody's business. Mark, I agree with you, but it is just nobody's business what the man's doing in his contract. If he's staying, whether he's leaving, we don't know what stage he's at. He could, for all we know,
it is our business, bro.
It's not our business. No, we don't buy this season.
On the back, and then he leaves.
It is nobody's business because guess what?
Suppose cost me 80 quid, bro.
Artie, suppose he come out tomorrow, right? And he said, right, it's clear, love Liverpool, come from the academy XYZ. Watch this, right? Suppose then he comes out and he says, well, look, I want to stay at Liverpool, right? It's just blatantly obvious. He comes out and says, I want to stay at Liverpool. I've got no interest in Real Madrid. Liverpool start the negotiations, and that breaks down and he doesn't stay there and he moves to Real Madrid. Who people are going to be upset with? You're going to start cussing Liverpool and FSG, innit? People are just constantly looking for a reason just to be vexed with somebody.
No.
It's nobody's business, man.
It depends on what the offer is.
Well, it has to be right for him and his family and his management team.
It depends on what the offer is. If it's extortionate, we know that we're not one of the highest paying when it comes to wages. But if he's asking if they make him a reasonable offer and he's asking, and he's like, no, and I'm saying, if they're saying like 280 bags a week, bro, plus bonuses.
Artie, you know what? I don't even think it's to do with the reason why I think he's not going to be there, right? I don't even think it's to do with the offer Liverpool are going to be offering him. I don't think it's going to be to do with the bags. I reckon they could offer him 350, 400. I just think he's looking for a new challenge and a new project elsewhere. That's why I just believe that he's going to go. I do. This is a new project.
I want Trent to stay with all my heart in X, Y, and Z, but I'm also kind of in touch with reality in regards to he's 26 years old. And if you think about him being 26 years old, being at the club from the age he was at, progressing through the club, winning every honour there is to win for the club, I think the only thing that he needs to achieve is by skippering the side. But I don't blame him. I blame the person or the people who made this situation happen in the first place.
That's what Des B's saying. What's going on with these contracts? I'm not sure what the broader player owners are doing, but they're playing.
How have we got arguably 3 players who could easily go into any team, not just in the Premiership, but in the world, and you're letting a situation happen or materialise where they are now in the last 6 months of their contract? That's got Liverpool Football Club and FSG have to do an audit or some sort of review in regards to how's this happened. This can't be allowed to happen again. It can't.
No.
They've got to do some sort of
and your prize asset.
Yeah.
Sorry, lads, to just move sideways. I just had this really bad, dream vision of Darwin leaving on a free, which would mean that he's still at the club in 2.5 years' time. Sorry. So
that ain't gonna happen. But talking about that, reports are that Al Ahly in Saudi have been making offers of 80 million euros, and Liverpool have turned it down.
Bruv, if that is true,
they want more.
If they're looking to buy Darwin, I will start praying 5 times a day myself, bruv, innit? Like, I will do anything to facilitate that move.
Man said he's getting Juma. Oh, he's Juma tomorrow. Don't mess about.
Listen, I've got my dates there. I'm ready to do my thing. Easy.
He's paying 400 bags a week. But Liverpool they said what they're saying is they want their money back. And that 80 euros falls a bit short.
I tell you what, if Edwards gets £80 million for Darwin Núñez, this guy needs to be knighted or Hughes or whoever it is, because wow, bloody we. My man scored 2 Premier League goals all season and is a serial toe punter, and you're going to get £80 million for my man.
Josh, man, Josh, they might be watching. Sure.
Nah, seriously, I was quite shocked when I saw that basically, because I'm sure, like, all right, 80 million. No, sorry, 80 million euros. I'm sure that's got to be about 75 million pounds. I'm sure it's around it, and they're saying no.
Mad.
Yo, Brett, listen, brother. Listen, I'll be getting the paperwork done so fast.
I think it's kind of 2 situations. If it's the rumours are true that Liverpool have rejected the offers, I think one of the reasons is Dr. Blake said that they want to get the money back, and I think the other bit of reason, and then the other thing is that I don't think Liverpool are in a position to replace him.
Question quickly on the Núñez one, and I guess this is to the panel of people in the comments. I think most people would accept that you'd sell Núñez if you can get in a replacement. Right. I guess the question would be, would you sell him, let's say for 75, and you don't get a replacement? Would you take that?
Oh,
yes, I would.
It's a bit of a tough one.
I would.
Sony's a yes.
And the reason why I say that is, I think that getting us through at least one transfer window, we have enough offensive players to allow us to get through a transfer window. So that's why I would say yes. It will give us enough time. So we'll just give an example. Suppose like randomly the club that you mentioned, Artie, did come in, and we just couldn't turn down it, the fee. We take it, and I'm sure that, you know, the people within our club for that, one transfer window we could manage offensively. So I would take that money.
Okay, so Credible is saying take that.
Damn.
Bingy saying yes, we have Dance.
Damn.
He's taking that.
Damn, boy. Damn.
That question.
And
that
basically
question.
saying Darwin's done out.
Yeah.
Any business for Nunes should be at the end of the season.
So,
Agreed.
okay, so like
Mark
there's B's and no
says
then.
out.
Damn. Man, it's just basically saying dash away.
Can we get through? Like we said, it's the business end of the season. Can we get through? We know what Jota's like with injuries. We've just spoken about Diaz not being prolific up there as well. That's two of our main options. So that's a bit of a struggle, and obviously putting a lot of pressure on the young boy Dance to say to come in. So it's a bit of a sticky one.
It's a sticky one.
It's a sticky one, and I think I would personally wait until the summer. I reckon.
Cool. You're right. We could wait for the summer. You know what? That opportunity would never ever materialize again. Ever.
Yeah, they say it's either now or never, innit? Hey, £75 million.
Listen, I tell them, listen,
want him now.
Let's get a pre-contract agreement going.
Nah.
Yeah, let's sign on the dotted line, and he's yours in the summer.
Nah, they're saying it has to be now or in the summer, like we're bidding like 35 for him. Like,
now listen, Listen, knock off 5 mil, right? We'll take 70. We just let him have us at the end of the season.
Did he say? What did he say? Knock off 5 mil and you can have him for 70.
Yeah. I'm saying we're knock off 5. Just let him have us at the end of the season.
It's something like we're at Dorset Market, you know. It don't work like that, man.
Well, like there's a queue of man.
Road. You get me? Yeah.
£1, £2, £3 fish.
I'm telling you, bro. Yeah, mate. Trust me. No, man. They'll have that. They'll have that. Just knock off 5 million and just let him keep us to the end of the season. But he's your player. You're signed now. Job done.
Hey, don't you hear the poll? The poll was saying, "Get the money back, get our money back, and let's try and move." But I think it would be. Oh, I think it would be very catastrophic and to sell Nunes and not have a replacement to come in.
Right.
I really think that would be a real bad business. And I think that would be kind of, again, we're in four competitions.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, so
these youngsters have no fear, Artie. I'm okay to wait until the end of the season done. But if they offer 90 million and we turn it down, Edwards needs a slap. Yeah.
This thing he's come on there, he's just put on pure violence, isn't it?
I think Chiesa gets us more goals if Slot just gave him a chance in for Nunes.
Absolutely agree with that one.
Give him a chance if he stays freaking fit. Why are you going to give him a chance if he can't stay fit? And Vinny there goes, I think most people appreciate Nunes' efforts, but when you're more surprised if he scores than if he misses, it's not a positive indictment, yeah?
Vinny's hit the nail on the head there very quickly. When he gets a chance now, who honestly expects him to score?
He's like the Thames Link. You're hoping. You're just hope. That's what it is. It's like when I'm catching the Thames Link, I'm hoping the train's actually going to come, and that's how I feel about Darwin Nunes.
Okay, gents. Before we're going to wrap up quickly, just need to quickly have predictions for the upcoming game, which is Bournemouth.
Brentford.
It's a bit of a sticky one.
Brentford, isn't it? I'm going to say...
Sorry, yeah.
As we can't keep clean sheets right now, I'm going to say 2-1 Liverpool.
Okay. Yeah, because they definitely can't keep clean sheets. That's one thing I'll tell you. Stoney, who never gets it right.
Listen, Never. I'm just going to say 3-1 Liverpool. It's probably going to be 3-3, but I'm going to say 3-1 Liverpool.
Okay.
So said Stoney, no predictions, please. You know. Bingy's not easy, man.
I'm going to say that it's going to be a humdinger of a game, and I think Liverpool are going to win 3-2.
I was going to say that. I'll go with that. 3-2. Thanks very much, people, for joining us. It's been a blast, Stoney. Thank you very much, Rob.
You're welcome, sir. Listen, it's good to be back. What's that?
This week, it's been nice.
Nearly 2 hours. You know, we had a lot to talk about, so it's all good.
Yeah,
Don't forget.
We could have quite easily continue.
Quite easily. Yeah, thank you very much. Well, thanks for having me. Good to be back. And happy 5th birthday to my granddaughter Nevaeh. She should be in bed by now, but she'll watch it in the morning. So happy birthday, darling.
Happy birthday, Nevaeh. I hope Granddad got you something nice.
Of course.